Audio Jungle.
Time to circle the wagons.
The Buffalo Bills, one of America's favorite teams. It seems like they're one of the favorite teams in the NFL at this point because of Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs over the last few years and some of the big games that they played in. How do you feel about the Bills?
I think I might like them more now that Stephon Diggs is gone. Like, I like Diggs, but I really like Josh Allen, but Diggs is very dramatic, and he hasn't been good enough to be that dramatic.
Wow. Bills fan shots early.
But Josh Allen's probably my second favorite quarterback in the NFL.
Who's your first?
My guy, Jalen.
Jalen who?
Jalen Hurts.
Imagine liking Jalen Hurts more than Josh Allen.
Okay.
Let me know in the comments. All right. So 2023 recap for the Buffalo Bills. They went 11-6, first in the AFC East. I slept on this team heavy throughout the course of the year. They really turned it around in the back half of the season after they went through some tough losses, especially when I absolutely slapped a plus 340 money line when the Denver Broncos went into Buffalo and beat them on a last-second field goal.
Amazing.
Their home record, 7-2, very solid at home. I mean, I feel like that's pretty obvious. They have a all-time great fan base.
Phenomenal home atmosphere, phenomenal fan base.
And they're not like the other fan base, like how like the Eagles fan base is just like a bunch of annoying assholes. Like they actually are like cool. And then their away record.
How many Bills fans do you know?
None. Jan Guy.
Whoa.
Jan Guy.
Whoa.
All right. Anyway, away record 4-4. Lastly, their playoff run. They got obviously the luck of the draw. They beat the Steelers at home 31-17. I mean, the Steelers didn't stand a snowball's chance in hell in that football game. They started Mason Rudolph. And then obviously the tough one, the lost at home 27-24 to the Chiefs, the infamous wide right. I rewatched the end of that game the other day. And the thing that will haunt Josh Allen probably for not forever, because he's going to play football for a very long time, but what's haunting him this offseason was, one, they played so not aggressive at the end of the game.
Scared.
They were sitting on the football, very burning clock. James Cook was dogging at that game. Such a good game from him. Some tough runs, converted on some thirds. But it was third down, and wherever they kicked the field goal from, he had Khalil Shakir on like a post across the middle, but then you had Stephon Diggs running across the middle on a dig route. I mean, on like a shallow, wide, like literally wide. He might have gotten tackled at like the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen went for that big play. The left tackle kind of got hit into him as he made that throw, and that throw just although it was there, the throw just didn't have enough juice. It took too much time to develop. And I think that you have to sit back and rewatch that play and just like, damn, like we literally
that was the one
game. We would have won that game and had a very good opportunity to win the Super Bowl if I hit Diggs on that little shallow route and just let him like take it.
Run forever. Yeah. Let him make the play.
Tough loss for them, obviously. And then obviously the infamous wide right, just like back in the day from T-Bass, who is literally automatic. Like I was rewatching the game and it was literally like never has missed a field goal from this range. And then of course he like misses it. So
the announcer's jinx.
So 2023
it's literally the worst thing.
2023 season, outside of like that loss and the entire thing in whole, like kind of a shitty season for them. They had so many injuries on that team. Everybody on their defense got hurt. It felt like it just seemed like they couldn't have the luck of like things bouncing their way. But then at the end of the day, they finished 11-6, won a playoff game, and lost to the Super Bowl champ. So not a bad season after all, but you kind of, if you're a Bills fan or if you're in that organization, you have to be kind of sitting around being like, damn, what if all of these players stayed healthy? Like we probably could have won it.
This was the second time that the Bills were like one play away from beating the Chiefs in a significant playoff game, and it just didn't roll their, like, just didn't bounce their way. And truly, I can't think of anything that's worse than that.
Definitely. So roster losses, there's a ton. So if I miss any, like, please join in, because I don't have all of them written down for sure. Traded Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis is out the door. Tre'Davious White's out the door. Jordan Poyer, Mitch Morse, their guard, and Leonard Floyd. It seems like a little bit of like an era of Bills football has left the building. Do you have anybody else that I miss? I definitely missed somebody.
They get rid of Tre'Davious White.
Yeah, I said
and that. Nyheim Hines.
Nyheim Hines, which he didn't even play for them. He tore his ACL and didn't play.
Yeah.
It seems like I said, it seems like a era of Bills football is like kind of over, but they were at a point where this team could not beat the Chiefs. This team was constructed to beat the Chiefs. Every time it came down to it, it truly came down to it, they could not get the job done. Whether if it was on the last play of game, a missed field goal, whatever that may be, they cannot beat this team, and it was time to blow it up. And they were having a lot of cap issues as well, and need to figure out a way to make more money for these guys.
I mean, yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to that. I think what they pretty much did was they just shedded a lot of like the old dead weight at this point, and I think that was probably right. Besides Von Miller, but getting rid of some of those guys in the secondary was a good move. But yeah, I think it was time to move on from them. I mean, I don't think the Bills like Super Bowl window or anything like that is closed as long as Josh Allen's there by any means. So
I think that's fair to say.
I just think it was time to get rid of those guys and take a new step, a new direction.
Additions: Keon Coleman,
love him,
drafted from Florida State. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Austin Johnson, Penn State. Mike Edwards, safety, played in a ton of big games. Curtis Samuel, Lael Collins, and Mapletron.
Yeah, when I was looking this up, I completely I didn't even realize that Chase Claypool was signed to the Bills. Another guy that I wanted to mention was Gable Stevenson. They signed that Minnesota wrestler.
Cool. That's chill.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually saw that. So first thing, hearing all of that jumps out to me. I love what they did this offseason. I think that it was hard to kind of get rid of all of those big names. What they did towards the back half of the season last year, Dalton Kincaid was a big part of what they were doing. They still have him. You still have Josh Allen. James Cook came into his own. He's a dog. Khalil Shakir was a big part of their offense last year. I actually really like him a lot. You draft Keon Coleman, which you don't know what he's going to be yet, but you still give yourself options. Valdez-Scantling, you can say whatever you want about him. He didn't have the best season of his career last year, but he has played in a ton of big games, a ton of big playoff games. He's been a part of a lot of great teams. He played for the Packers forever, the Chiefs, and now the Bills. He's only played with good quarterbacks. And then
he's also going to be your wide receiver 4. So it's not
it's not the end of the world.
Honestly, I would probably consider Dalton Kincaid pretty much their wide receiver 4. I think he's very good, but nevertheless, it's not like you need to rely on him to be out there in every three wide receiver set.
No, and then lastly, I really love the Curtis Samuel addition. I know he has not been able to stay healthy at all, but if he can legitimately just I don't know what they need to do. If he can just play decent football and stay healthy, I think that's a low key slept on signing. When he's playing football, he's good. But
Curtis Samuel,
he's not playing football.
Yeah, I was gonna say Curtis Samuel at your wide receiver 3. I would feel, I could feel much worse about that situation. Curtis Samuel was a guy, even when he was in Washington, I always felt his receiving line for catches every game was 4.5, and I feel he hit it every single time as long as he was on the field. So he feels like another guy that, as long as he's healthy, he's going to be reliable.
Who's the wide receiver 1 in this offense, in your opinion?
I mean, probably just from I don't know. Like, I don't know if
Because
Shakir is enough.
I think Curtis Samuel's the one. I think like he's the one in this offense. That's why he
I don't
went
think
there.
I don't think it really like I don't really know if they need to have one guy be like
Oh,
the
look
wide
who it
receiver
is.
one.
Look who it is. The guy who always
I
says
know.
this, and now you're sitting here saying that they don't need it. So interesting.
I think in this instance it might be better
So
for
wide receiver by
the Buffalo
committee.
Bills. I think it might be better for the Buffalo Bills to have a wide receiver by committee. Yes. I don't think that's a consistent thing throughout the league. I think it's very team by team, but I think that for the sake of the Buffalo Bills, none of these guys are going to go and throw hissy fits on the sideline like Diggs was if he's not getting the ball. And
what's with all the dig shots?
Because I want Josh Allen to win a Super Bowl if it's not going to be the Eagles.
Well,
and
Josh Allen could have won a Super Bowl if he hit the fucking under route and didn't try to make a big
I know I'm gonna
play.
dig into him. I'm gonna dig into him once we get there. But I love Diggs, but he's not what he used to be.
Real quick, and then we'll go on to weaknesses of this football team. I think how this roster is currently constructed and why Curtis Samuel went to Buffalo, he's not like the prototypical, like you look at him and is like the number one, but he is like technically the number one on this offense. I think so. And when this season starts out, and until he gets hurt, he will be the number one. I think so. Not like the prototypical one, but in the offense. Okay.
When you write it down on paper.
Weaknesses. I put the Chiefs, obviously.
Yeah, very fair.
And the other one I put is Josh Allen's questionable decision making. I talked about it a lot last season. Since he's been in the NFL, he's first in turnovers out of all quarterbacks. I talked about that massive decision that he made to potentially win the game against the Chiefs last season. He's a big home run hitter. And when it works, it's fucking awesome. But when it doesn't work, you kind of sit there and like kind of scratch your head. It's like, do you always need to make the home run play?
Yeah, we've seen this since he's been in the league. Obviously, he's the guy that's going to try to make the big play. But like, that's just who he is. And I don't know if he's ever going to change that mentality. I think it more so is just going to have to be like, wrangling it. Like he's a wild bull and you just kind of got to wrangle him in a little bit. And I don't know if that's even possible because who knows if they end up winning some of these games if he's not out there trying to hit the big play. No, I don't know what the alternative is because you don't want to cage a wild animal like that every time.
No, it's like a gift and a curse because like literally I have what makes them special. It's Josh Allen. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same. It's the same thing. Like, it's just at times, like maybe you need to figure out the appropriate times to take those big shots and when to kind of be a little bit more reserved and take what's given to you because it could potentially lead to better things overall for the team rather than like always trying to make the big play. So for what makes them special, I obviously have Josh Allen. He's the second best quarterback in the league currently. And then the next one who is like a completely unsung hero is Sean McDermott. He is like actually a great head coach. For people that don't remember, he actually took the Bills to the playoffs a year before Josh Allen even got there. So he's always been a good head coach. He always has a really tough defense. So that's why even with all of like the defensive losses and turnover and stuff, I think as of this point in Sean McDermott's career, we have to give him enough respect that he's going to roll out a pretty elite not elite, but a defense who's going to do enough to win football games.
Yeah, so when I was looking into some of these stats for the Bills, like offense and defense, like they were really fucking good on offense, obviously. And that's because of Josh Allen, but some of these things that their defense did, like honestly stood out to me. Like they were third in points per game. Like they gave up 18 points per game, and that's solid. Only gave up 2 touchdowns per game, which was 7th in the NFL. Their passing defense, and although those guys were like injured and kind of older, their passing defense was really impressive as well. They only gave up 198 passing yards per game, which was 7th. And I mean, this is another thing that I was shocked when I saw too, is their percentage of sacks throughout the season. They were fifth with 8.22%. So like fifth, I don't know if that necessarily means like fifth most sacks, but like having that high of a sack percentage is something that I didn't expect when when you look at the overall build of the defense and outcome of their regular season at least.
I think AJ Epinenza is a good rusher of the passer. I think Von Miller he was a shell of himself last season. He
wasn't ready. He even came out in an interview at some point I saw some article and he was like, I probably shouldn't even have played last year. Like I was not ready to go. I should have rehabbed a little bit longer and not
whatever.
nearly as played. But he still played. So like you have to take that.
So yeah, so we'll see what we get from him last year. And then Greg Rousseau, I think is how you say Rousseau or whatever, he's like kind of like low key slept on as a pass rusher as well. Like I like their makeup that they have there. Obviously, if Von Miller can be 75% of himself, like I think that you're talking a little bit differently about this pass rush. But yeah, I think McDermott's a great defensive coordinator. That's really all there is to it. Like,
yeah, and the fact that they made it within a play of the Super Bowl with all the defensive injuries that they had was insane.
Completely. They lost everybody last season.
Everybody. It felt like every week towards the last like 6 weeks of the season, they lost a significant starter on that defense.
And it's hard to lose all of those guys, but then continue to still roll out and win, because at the end of the season, even when they lost all of those guys, they were still pulling wins out. It was insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they did a phenomenal job. They, as in Sean McDermott, leading that defense to be as good as it was down the stretch.
No, definitely. So, 2024 predictions. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as Josh Allen's there, this team's going to win 10 games. So I've got them penciled in at 10 games minimum. Their schedule's tough. They've got like the 23rd toughest schedule. So they have some tough stretches of games. So like week 3 through week 6, they've got Jacksonville, at Baltimore, at Houston, at the Jets. And then from weeks 10 to week 15, they've got at Indianapolis versus the Chiefs. They have a bye versus San Francisco, at the Rams, at the Lions. So like this schedule's tough. I think they probably end up splitting with the Jets. I think they probably end up beating New England twice, I want to say. So, and then I think they split with Miami.
New England beat them last year.
Yeah, once. I know, which is why I was very hesitant to say that. And when I was marking down wins on here, I initially didn't have them winning both, but I don't know. We could see Drake May in there at the very end of the season. Like they played New England, Jets, New England. So like, who knows what happens with that last game of the season? Like that could be like to win the division per se if you're Buffalo. So I think that depends on where they're at in the season. Like if they need to win that game and it's for the division, I think they probably end up winning it. So realistically, I'll say they're going to be 11-6.
So you think that they're going to win the division then, it sounds like?
No, I think the Jets still win, but did I say the Jets go 12-5?
Yeah. I mean, that's just a lot of wins in one division.
It is.
Unless
I don't think the Dolphins are going to be good.
The Dolphins are going to win like 5 games.
I think.
Listen, I'm not going to hold you.
Can they win like?
I'm not going to hold
7.
I'm not going to hold you to it. That's a lot of wins in one division. Regardless,
I got like 10-6 or 10-7, 11-6 somewhere in there.
So you think that they're cusp of winning the division? It sounds like that. It could go either way in your opinion between the Jets.
Yeah, I do.
With all that being said, I absolutely love what the Buffalo Bills did this season, but I do think that they ultimately end up taking a little bit of a step back, but it's a step back to go forward. I think that the Bills are going to be good for a very long time. I think they're always going to be in the mix. I just think this season per se is going to be one of those seasons where like you take a little bit of a step back. obviously I'm not taking health into consideration. So if everything stays healthy, I put them at 9 wins and to finish second in the division. I just flat think the Jets have a better football team than them this year and this upcoming season. And I think that that is going to be like the monster in the division that they're going to have to get over. Obviously if they stay healthy as well. So I think 9 wins is generous, 9 to 10 wins. And I think they could sneak a wild card, but yeah, I think that, like I said, what they did this offseason was amazing. It needed to be done, but it's like a small step forward to set yourself up for success for like years to come.
Yeah, the fact that they're like shedding all these guys and bringing in like so many new guys and like younger, newer guys is, and that we still have them winning like 9 to 11 games is just like speaks on how good Josh Allen is and how good of a coach Sean McDermott is.
No doubt. So Bills, I still care about you, but I just think that, I don't know. Hey, you can't win the division every single season. Sometimes things shake up, but you're still a good football team.
Yeah. You just got to beat the Jets this year.
All right, word. And the Patriots.
And the Patriots.
Audio Jungle.